Gobble, gobble, motherfuckers. Season 2, episode 46 of the Comic-Con podcast. What's going on? Hopefully everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving. We are recording this a little bit early, of course, because it is a Thanksgiving week. We are recording this on November the 22nd. Hopefully everyone had a great Turkey Day if you celebrate Thanksgiving here in the States. And if not, there's always like Chinese food, I guess. That's the best thing. But of course, you got your partners in crime, East Coast influencer Justin Nemesis Prime, and over in the Midwest, my man Southwest. I'm sorry, Southwest. Milton the Manimal. How you doing, buddy?
Man, it's been a rough day, rough evening last night. This is comic book related, I promise. So, but just to tell everyone, it's double comic book related. Now that I actually think about this,
I heard this story already.
My dog got sick, comic book related, because his name's Havoc. He ate something, kind of got a little poisoned or not good, so we had to take him to the vet and stayed overnight there. But the plus is he's all better and he's back home, all good. But when we got home, so after already going through that bullshit, we get home and there's like standing water in my garage. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So I go looking through my house. I don't find any water anywhere, leaking anywhere, right? I go into the comic book room and then up against
was that your first venture? Like, so when I think of water, I'm immediately going to my basement.
It was.
And looking in the comics.
So I did. But the problem was I was wearing shoes when I went in there the first time. And I was like, it doesn't look like I don't see anything like on the walls. I'm not feeling like, I didn't notice anything. Right. And then I kind of came back in there later because I double checked. I was like, I don't know where this water is coming from. And so I went back in, I had taken my shoes off and I'm stepping on the carpet. And literally it was like I was walking in a swamp. Like it was just soaked through. So the back wall of my comic book room is shared with like the back wall of my garage, which the water heater's right there. So, but the water heater was completely bone dry, you know? So it wasn't that either. And anyway, long story short, they cut a hole in the wall in the comic book room. And I guess, you know, with like the change in temperatures, some pipe had like expanded and rubbed on like the wood and just kind of fucking like split something and popped. So they went in there, fixed it, but the carpet's all getting torn up and dried out right now. And looks like I might be switching the comic room to a different room. So all of my bookshelves, dude, like all that shit is literally like in my kitchen stacked. A couple of my bookshelves are actually like waterlogged and ruined.
Oh, that's terrible. Did you have like the omnibuses like supporting everything?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Like just the omnibuses all like kind of like holding up all your shelves, dude, and all your slabs and stuff.
I mean, they're just all stacked in the fucking kitchen. I gotta like do shit with them. But the point I want to bring across, and I know I've spoke about this earlier, is you know, luckily nothing happened and none of my comics are damaged or anything, and you know, got valuable ones. But it's very important for people to have collector's insurance. So I do have collector's insurance that I run, and thankfully I didn't have to use it this time. But shit like this happens, man. You know, luckily I also live in a place where like humidity is not a huge issue, but if something like that happens and you get a lot of humidity and your slabs can get damaged. So
I mean, I don't know anything about I mean, I know of that type of insurance, but like roughly what do you pay?
That's actually a really good question. I probably should have came prepared for this.
Well, I mean, I guess while you're looking that up, I guess we can go into some other stuff and we'll come back to it. So, of course, today, since we're recording this on November 22nd, there was a crazy mass drop for Amazing Spider-Man #1. Yeah, you know, they're going to drop an Amazing Spider-Man #1 because they just can't keep that comic book going. They just can't keep it going. So we have to just keep rebooting it to '1. But there was the ASM #1 with Eminem on the cover. And it went on sale, I think, 4 p.m. Eastern time, sold out by like 4:04, let's call it. People are losing their minds. I see eBay prices are like $2K. There was like raws were like $35, and then signed copies were like $320. No CGC, I don't think. I didn't really care because I was more important working. Like I just didn't care. But
so it's like what 8 Mile, right? It's Eminem and
So like that's Spider-Man now here's the thing. Yeah. It's like the scene in 8 Mile when he's up on the stage and, you know, it's basically him, Mike battling Spidey. Right. But now here's my thing about it. And I know people are like, oh, well, you know, it's Eminem and Spider-Man. Obviously Marvel's biggest character is Spider-Man. Yes, I get that. But like, if you're going to do like Eminem, do a Detroit superhero. Like,
Okay.
make it.
Like who? Great Lakes Adventure
I don't know.
Adventures?
Well, see, like, so here's the problem. I thought about when I thought about this. I actually Googled this. The only two really main characters from like Detroit are DC characters. Like, there are Marvel characters, but
Okay.
like, there's no there's no superheroes in the Marvel universe.
Who are
Like
the DC guys?
in DC, it's John Stewart. Obviously, that's a
Okay.
main. He's a main one, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't kind of. There's nobody.
Simon Baz is from like Michigan
Exactly.
as well,
Yes,
right?
him as well.
Yeah.
Cyborg is also from like there, but like,
Okay.
as far as Marvel, there's like nobody.
Yeah. Well,
There's like I think I read like somebody Steelix, or I don't even know. I couldn't even tell like who the characters were.
I
So,
remember like do you remember back when they had the Initiative, right? And it was after like Dark Reign or something. And there was like a superhero team in every city. I'm sure there was. I wonder who was in Detroit. I'm sure we'll look it up. But so anyway, coming back while I'm looking at that too, I found I pay $30 a month for the comic book insurance.
Okay, that's not bad.
It's worth it, man. I mean, it's worth it. But yeah, I looks like I got like Great Lakes God, I keep saying Adventures. Avengers is really like the first team, the first group of people I think of when it comes to
Yeah,
that region, you know?
but it's odd. There's no Marvel characters because everybody comes out of New York because of like.
Right.
For the most part, it's either like New York or like the far West Coast. There's not many in between, but yeah, the DC actually has quite a bit of characters out of Detroit, which is pretty interesting. So I don't know why. I guess DC just didn't do it. And what was it? Recently, didn't they do a Notorious B.I.G. Deadpool variant as well?
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken.
I think so. And they'd also done Eminem had been on that the Punisher cover.
Yes.
As well. Okay, so
Yeah.
I got a list here. This might be the one you looked at, but this is Detroit superheroes, and I think this crosses all publishers. So
Okay,
Detroit Steel.
that's
Is
the
that who
one.
you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one who's like a Marvel character.
No idea who the fuck that is, dude. Created by Hammer Industries to rival Iron Man. Well, that didn't work. Firebrand. DC might case, and then so Firebrand is Marvel's Detroiter. Gary Gilbert was originally a campaigner for good, fighting the good fight, but alcoholism led him to change sides and become a supervillain enforcer. Punched it out with Punisher on a few occasions. You got Firestorm, apparently, is also from Detroit.
Yeah, I saw that
Jason
too.
Rush version. So let's see. John Stewart, like you said.
Oh, that's right. Oh, Deathlock.
Vibe.
Deathlock's actually is from Detroit.
Okay.
One of them. I don't know which one, but
I'm seeing a theme here. So I imagine I can guess which one. But so you got Vibe from Justice League.
oh yeah,
Lady Shiva.
yes, yeah, I saw that too. But again, DC. So,
Oh, Eric Draven the Crow.
huh? Yeah, I guess that's where the DC was. Huh? That I didn't know.
Crowbar. He looks like he looks like he's part. Oh, this is a Justice League character. Or like
Crowbar. Oh man, we are going deep, folks. We are definitely going on the
yeah,
deep
here's
route for this one.
Deathlock. Which Deathlock? Luther Manning. It really seems like they picked all African American characters as like predominantly who the Detroit characters are.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, here's one dude. Demolition Man, D-Man, who looks like a cross between Daredevil and Wolverine.
Oh my God, yes.
Dennis Dunphy, D-Man. Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
so sad.
any of you Detroit fans out there. I mean, John Stewart's, I think, your biggest claim to fame, and Firestorm, maybe. Vibe's pretty cool. Vibe's not bad.
Again, it depends on when you're looking at it, right? Yeah, definitely John Stewart obviously is the biggest one, but then you have a lot of Justice Leaguers in there, Firestorm, Vibe. There's a few other ones, so you can't take away from the Justice League. But again, like it's just odd that they're doing this Marvel variant for again a rebooted #1 that we always talk about, just to sell more books. Let's just revamp it right down to #1. So, I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I don't know, dude. I don't care. I saw the cover. It's moderately cool. I mean, but I don't give two shits about it, and I would not spend more than cover price for it for sure. The only time I would is if I would have had a chance to get it early to like flip. Obviously, those books pretty are pretty like known to be, a flippable type book. Like you said, I mean, the prices are already outrageous on eBay. There's no way in hell I'd go on eBay and pay for that.
Yeah, and I know. So just so anybody who missed out and maybe also looking to get them again, I know they did do an update, and again, this is still early enough, but they are going to be sold on Eminem's website, or actually the Hall on November 29th. It's 1,000 copies are going to be available. So the TheHaul.com. I don't know what times. There's no times, but again, at least you get another chance to possibly get. If you really want them, go ahead and grab them. But again, if not, you don't care and you don't want to spend the crazy prices that people are asking, whatever, right? It's just I cannot believe that they did that again with Marvel. Like, and again, it's probably going to be the same thing. Like, they're going to have another, hip hop rap artist, somebody, and we're all going to go bananas for, instead of just like coming out with variants like they normally would.
Yeah.
Like, this is how they have to do it. So.
Yeah, you were right. You were talking the Deadpool #1, the Ken Lashley,
yes,
Notorious B.I.G. one. Yeah, that was pretty recent. That's been on the cover price list.
Yeah, that was on cover. But what's weird about that was, like, even though like people were going crazy over that one was actually still available on the one website that it was from. So it was very odd. But
hey, like we always say, collect what you want to collect. This is definitely not my cup of tea. And the hip hop variant books, I feel like, what's crazy about those hip hop variant books, I feel like when they came out, they weren't super popular, but then I feel like they got kind of hot. Some titles did, depending on other people, depending on the character. Like the Hawkeye one was pretty hot for a while.
Oh, they always become hotter once like the artist dies. Right. Like the DMX one got super hot after he passed away. And then, all the other ones some of them are scarcer than the others, but for the most part, they're all really cool. And then obviously when like Miles popped, like the Miles hip hop like super went up there. And
they'll be wishing or putting bad juju on Eminem though, saying like he's going to pass, and then this issue.
I'm not saying it's a hip hop cover though. I'm just saying that he's on the cover. I mean, hopefully they'll throw some females on there or something. Or I can't believe. What's crazy is they never did
hip hop. It's 8 Mile.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I can't believe they never got the rights to do like rock band covers. Deadpool's had the Nirvana cover, I feel like, for Smells Like Teen Spirit, but like they've never did that as like a variant month where like each of the different titles. It's like, and like that's always like
popular cover from an album or something, like an album cover. Yeah.
Like Marvel's always really good with the themed ratio variants. DC does it well. Like they did the Bombshells, and that became a thing for a while. They did the Looney Tunes, which was really funny. The best ones that they did, to be honest, and I still actually have the full set, was the Steampunks. They were all 1 in 25 ratio variants, and they are super expensive, some of them. Like the Batgirl, the Wonder Woman, and Batwoman, Batgirl, Wonder Woman, and the Harley are pretty expensive. But the other ones are starting to pick up like price-wise, because they came from titles that like nobody really was picking up, and you had to order 25 copies to get it. So like Teen Titans was on there, Justice League Dark was on there. Like, who was ordering 25 of that title at that time? It was like middle of the run. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's never been my thing, but they're cool, dude. I mean, they're cool, and people enjoy them. But I don't know. I just always feel so bad when you start to see like the scramble for these books, right? Because there's people out there who really want them, and now it's going to be tough to get them. So.
All right, let's get out of our variant talk. I mean, I could sit here and talk variants all night long, but what do you got, man? I know you got some articles over there.
Yeah, so let's see where to start. Okay, so we got one here's comic book related, right? So this is kind of funny because I feel like Justin and I have talked about this a little bit, but this is over at Newsarama. Donny Cates and Ryan Ottley are leaving Marvel's Hulk ongoing series. So the creative team is departing separately from the series they launched together. Looks like writer Donny Cates has left the ongoing Hulk series and will be followed shortly by artist and now series writer Ryan Ottley. Ottley recently tweeted the cover to February's Hulk #12, and in an exchange with a fan, revealed Cates is no longer with the series, and then revealed his own upcoming departure. Ottley goes on to say, Hulk #12, February, another issue that I'm the writer and the artist for. Come see what this dork Ottley is going to do with the rest of this Hulk Planet arc. Ottley tweeted this on November 19th. Prompting a fan to ask if Cates was writing the Hulk any longer. Ottley responded, no, he moved on to other things. I'll be writing the rest of this arc. There's always a chance he can come back for later arcs, but I just don't know. I miss his amazing scripts. Fortunately, he created such a solid foundation that the world is such a blast to continue creating it. So, yeah, looks like Donny Cates kind of already pieced out on the Hulk, and Otley took over as writer artist. But then he's leaving. It looks like at the end of this Planet Hulk arc, which it sounds like is going to be ending in February 12th. Sorry. Otley confirms that Hulk number 14 is his last issue with the series. So he's going to Image, create her own stuff over there, but he does come back to say he'll probably come play at Marvel again someday. I did see that Cates has gone on to kind of say, he tweeted recently and he said, "Hey guys, I'm okay. Just needed to breathe and deal with a bunch of life. Anyway, yeah, no fear. I've been working with and in the background on something insane that will, well, you'll know it when you see it. Love you guys. See you soon." So, yeah, there's a lot of talk that Cates might be picking up the really high profile gig of Avengers writer once Jason Aaron exits here at the end of his tenure. This last Avengers Forever storyline, but yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, I know your opinion and speak on it a little bit of the Hulk run, right?
You're like, really?
Yeah.
Am I that easy to read?
You hated it from Jump Street.
Oh God, yeah, I tried and it was just out of, and I've spoken to a lot of other people too. Like, it's stupid. It made no sense. I fell off of like after issue 4, just, I tried to, I gave it a try because of, his writing on Venom, but it was just too far out there, after Al Ewing's like amazing run,
right,
to like switch over to like what Cates was doing. It was just like, I don't know. I just dropped it off. I just could not read it anymore. It was just unbearable. So,
yeah, for those of you who aren't reading or maybe aren't familiar with Hulk, here's a little good synopsis kind of. So Cates and Otley launched the current Hulk series together, which introduced the new Starship Hulk status quo for Bruce Banner and his superhuman alter ego, along with the latest Hulk incarnation, Titan. So if you don't know what that means, don't worry. It doesn't really make much sense anyway, but basically the Hulk body is a spaceship and Bruce Banner is like inside of it, controlling it from like some, controls now. And I mean, obviously this is kind of like not really like a starship, but it's more like how do you explain, like metaphysical? Like it's kind of like it's not really a spaceship that he's controlling, but he's in there with like, controls and monitoring him. And then he has like Rage Hulk in like the engine room and they piss him off and make him fight people to like power the Hulk body.
It's so stupid.
It was really weird, man. It's not great. They had the crossover with Thor and in which Donny Cates was writing as well. And even that storyline wasn't that good.
Yeah, I haven't really heard anybody talk about Thor. Remember when like Thor was like a big thing because they were coming out with like all first appearances in that series, and then it just kind of like faded away.
There's been some good aspects of it. I really liked when they brought back oh my God, Donald Blake. Yeah, that's right. Donald Blake. And kind of like brought him back into Thor lore. Because, like back in the day, Donald Blake was this guy with a fucking stick and he'd bang it on the ground and he turned into Thor, right? Like this shit didn't make any sense. And that just kind of went away. Like, I mean, I'm sure main Thor fans, unlike myself, will be like, oh, well, this is what happened. But I really liked how they came back and they introduced Donald Blake and they made him pretty relevant in that run. But I think you're right, dude. I mean, I don't think anyone's talking about it because I think obviously Donny Cates has pulled back. I honestly want to say, because I collect the ongoing for Thor, and I'm not entirely sure it comes out monthly. I feel like it's few and far between. Sometimes.
Oh no, it's only on issue 10. I feel like Hulk came out.
No, Hulk.
Oh,
Thor
yeah,
is
Hulk.
Like, yeah, Thor's more. Thor
is a lot more,
not
but
monthly anymore either, though. I feel like it's like bi-monthly at this point. Or I
feel like
every 2 months.
I mean, I feel like Thor or Hulk came out like way last year, and I mean, again, like we're only on issue 10, like. Yeah. I don't know. Is it? I mean, I guess have we been talking about it since the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting it too. It's probably like number 10 or 11, something like that.
Well, yeah, it's on 10. It's all about that Hulk planet.
Yeah.
But I just can't see, like, I think it started in January. I mean, it's been January. It's on issue 10. So yeah, every month. But I feel like it just faded away. It just faded into the, or actually, no, it says November 24th was the release of last year. So. Odd that they're a year and only on 10 issues, but
and I'm looking on DCBS right now for like a pre-order month of November, right? And which means what? When do those books come out? December,
January or February?
When you pre-order for November, it's like 2 months down.
Yeah, it's 2 months ahead.
So there's no Hulk. I mean, sorry, God damn it, Thor. There's no Hulk. Damn it, I'm confusing myself now. So there's no Hulk, that's for sure. Let me see if there's a Thor. Let me see. Hold on.
Yeah, there's not really like, I think Marvel's like, it's weird. They're taking a lot of things off because I know like Captain Marvel, which I still am getting.
Aren't you super happy about that too?
God, I'm hoping it ends, man. I'm hoping. When I saw it not available for pre-order, I was like, oh man, can we finally put this up on eBay and get rid of this run? Which nobody will want, but
wait, what issues are like 46 issues or something?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Let's see. Damn, I'm almost there.
Actually, no, it's Captain Marvel 46, but like the way it just says in the synopsis, it just says, look for more information on this title in a future issue of Marvel Previews. So like that leads me to believe like it's either done or maybe it'll just get to 50. And you and I had this conversation the other day, and I think this is actually a pretty good thing. If you look at the previews for Marvel, there's only 3 ongoing titles that are high numbers.
Right.
Captain Marvel Avengers being number 1, like that's in the 60s. Captain Marvel is at 46, and then X-Force is at like in the late 30s. So like, unbelievable that like these are your top 3 titles ongoing, and yet your biggest characters can't hold titles longer than this.
Well,
and they constantly get rebooted, like Spider-Man.
Yeah. So that's the thing there. And sorry to
no, go ahead.
There is no Thor book for this pre-order. So yeah, you're not wrong. So X-Men's kind of different though. The other one that's really high up there as well is New Mutants is pretty high too. It's just a little bit behind X-Force. And X-Men, they've kind of just did a different thing where it's almost like seasons now for X-Men. It seems like, so like they'll reboot it when there's a new X team kind of. So like they're doing this whole like voting thing. Right. And they seem to kind of like restart. So obviously X-Men isn't missing any months for sure, but yeah.
Not at all.
Reboot that. In ASM. Yeah. That always reboots based on just what creative team. Venom's at issue 15.
Nothing is pretty high.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same way you feel about Captain Marvel is how I feel about Avengers. Like I'm ready for that to get taken out of my long boxes. Just takes up too much space, dude.
Yeah, I just can't do like after Captain Marvel. The only thing I get on the Marvel side is Star Wars, but of course they have to bring back another Spider-Gwen, and of course it's another clone thing, and I'm just like, so announced recently that the brand new Spider-Gwen, I'm actually going to be talking about this. So this is over at GamesRadar.com. Spider-Gwen clone villain mashup on the way, and Spider-Gwen shadow clones. So we just got out of the Gwenverse thing, and now we're getting into this Spider-Gwen clones. So it's a mashup between Spider-Gwen and all Spider-Man's villains. And on the cover, you could kind of see like a Sandman Spider-Gwen and also Doc Ock, which we've kind of already seen, I feel like, in one of the issues. But I'm sure you'll see like maybe like a Morbius or a Lizard. And like, why can't they just do like back to the old days of just standard storylines for Gwen? Like, there's no point for these little mini series. Like, she's a great character. Like, just write the character. Don't make dumb like mini series.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm not a big Spider-Gwen fan, but I think it's because these titles don't do well by themselves for very long. So they always have to go back to the old tropes. So it's either, symbiotes or Spider-Verse, or let's use their Sinister Six and mash them up. And, there's always some like trope that you have to do. It doesn't feel like, and I will say this, like, I know a lot of people aren't fans of Donny Cates, but like writers like Al Ewing and Donny Cates, say what you will about them, whether you like the Venom run from Donny Cates or the Al Ewing run from Hulk, or even the flip-flop back and forth between Venom and Hulk, they do different things. They don't follow like the same tropes. I have to give them props for like trying to, push a legacy type character and create something new, which I don't think happens in Spider-Man at all. Like Spider-Man's just basically, it revolves around, okay, dude, so we did Norman Osborn. We'll wait like 6 months. We'll bring him back. He'll be a good guy this time. And in between then, we'll do some symbiotes. And in between then, we'll have Harry Osborn. And in between then, we'll bring back the Sinister Six. And that's all it is. It's just revolving. Like, they just move from those same tropes back and forth, back and forth.
Well, I mean, they do, but they are, the one thing is they are introducing new characters. That is the one thing. And I know, like, I think it's this week is the new character, like Hollow's Eve.
Okay. Like, is it going to be a new character? Is going to end up being fucking Harry Osborn?
Exactly.
For like that's time.
Yeah, like an existing character that we've had in that universe forever, and then it's like, oh, guess what? It's this person that we've already seen.
It's Robbie Thomas from Daily Bugle.
Oh God.
Some shit like that. Like, I mean, Harry Osborn has come back like what? How many times, dude? I mean, wasn't he just? I didn't even read the Nick Spencer run. Didn't he come back as that new character? Fucking Kindred. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, I don't know what to think about on the Marvel side with everything that does come out. So, hoping things will end for a lot of these titles, and we'll go from there. So, even like based on Gwen, like you said, Gwen can't really hold her title. And I'm sure this is what's going to happen. Like next year, once the movie comes out, they'll have an ongoing, or they'll try to do an ongoing Spider-Verse thing, right? Because there are so many Spider versions and stuff like that. They always end up doing like a mini series or something like that. But hell, X-Men has ongoings. Like, why can't you just have an ongoing Spider-Verse with, like, again, Spider-Ham, Penne, throw Miles in there just because, it's just like throwing Wolverine on any team. Like, it'll sell because it's Miles, even though he's another one who's getting a reboot who can't hold his own title past 40 issues.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why Marvel keeps pushing these things. Like, I'm just like, dude, who's reading this? Because obviously there's people. Some people are reading it, but not enough to keep the title going. So, like, why do you keep pushing this title? Like, switch it around, man. Give it a break too. Let it breathe a little bit. I mean, nothing hurts from like what's the saying? Like, oh God, the really famous saying, like when something's gone and you want it more type saying. Fact, dude.
FOMO?
No, not FOMO, but like absence makes the heart grow stronger. Right. That's
fonder. Yes. Yeah.
Or fonder. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of the thing. Like, let Miles go away for a while, dude. Like, I mean, they killed Wolverine for a little while, and granted, they brought in old ass Wolverine, but
oh God, yeah, that was good though.
It wasn't bad. It was not bad, but let him go away for a while. People don't want to read it. Let it go away, and then people will want him more when he comes back, or Spider-Gwen, or whoever. Like. So, I don't know.
Here's another thing, another comic book talk. While we're still keeping on the comic book, I thought about this. So what's your thoughts on when they redo series? Not so much redo series, but when they continue a storyline and then they incorporate like the same title. You know how, like, all right, so like Planet Hulk was in like the early 2000s, and right now it's like Hulk Planet. And then they're doing also like Hulk Planet World Breaker, which was the same thing as like Planet Hulk World Breaker.
Yeah.
So like Marvel does that a lot, where they reuse the same titles of like previous story arcs. And obviously we've seen that, like Secret Invasion, they're doing another one, like Civil War 2, they did Civil War 2, like Armor Wars, like, and they're always going back to like, and I feel like it diminishes the original a little bit.
Right.
Like, I get DC always has a crisis. So that's like, and because that's always their main thing, and you rarely ever see like them reuse a title. Like, obviously, I say this, and everyone immediately thinks Batman, and I'm like, all right, well, there's Batman, Death of the Family, and then Death in the Family, and then Death of the Family. Like,
right.
I get that, but they were still they were really good. But I feel like on the Marvel side, they're constantly reusing the same story arcs, and they don't go anywhere.
What is it? Symbiote War that we're getting this?
Yeah.
I mean, Summer of the Symbiotes. Yeah, I mean. I don't know. It's kind of like what I'm saying is they just go back and they try to capitalize on like your nostalgia of the old one. And you're right. Like, in a way, it does kind of diminish it, and think about it in movies, right? So like I can think of okay, great movie, right? Boondock Saints, fabulous movie, amazing movie. The second one, it's not that great, right? And so you're kind of like, oh God, do I even want to watch that, or do I just pretend it doesn't exist? Or like Anchorman, dude. Anchorman 2 is borderline unwatchable, and it's just like you do that and you kind of ruin the first. You jeopardize the first one a little bit. So
I don't know. I can watch the second one.
Anchorman 2. Oh God,
yeah,
so bad, dude.
Oh, they're trying to bring back something else too. Oh, Dodgeball. Like,
oh yeah,
because they had like and obviously now we're really off the tangent, but they talked to like Justin Long. He's like, oh, have you spoken to Ben Stiller about doing like a Dodgeball 2? And
Mhm.
He's like, well, you know, me and Vince have said it. We're down for it, but obviously it's about. But I feel like, yeah, that's a movie. Like, how do you like? You have to again bring everybody back. Like, and what's the storyline going to be in a way? Like, really,
Yeah.
are you? Do you really want to ruin how great the first one was? So,
How's that dude gonna end up in a pirate suit again?
oh,
Like,
Alan
yeah.
Tech, or whatever, yeah, Tunic, whatever his
So,
fucking name is.
yeah, dude. Well, okay, so we kind of went off topic, but like back to Donny Cates. It should be interesting to see. He has been kind of like gone for a while. I mean, don't also keep in mind he gave up that crossover series. It kind of just like that stopped. Um, so I'm interested to see. I mean, like where he's going to pop up again. He's kind of obviously for the past couple of years he's been Marvel's like their up and comer, so to speak. But I think, dude, I think you got these guys that are like silent right there. Like Chip Zdarsky is not getting the credit he deserves, in my opinion, right now for like all the runs he's been doing and all the titles he's writing that are just so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe that's good, dude. Maybe that's good because, like, right. So Cates came off Venom, and then it was so awesome, and they're like, okay, awesome. Let's do Thor. Let's do Hulk, and you're doing crossover. And maybe you're doing too much,
Mm.
So and you're letting shit slip a little bit, but. I don't know. There's some comic book talk for you guys, So
We try to bring you what we like, and we try to go off topic. We try to
yeah,
do something else. Of course, we're rounding out the year, so I can't wait to actually do the same thing that we did last year. If anybody's new to the podcast this year, at the end of the year, we'll do our year in review in comics, where Zach and I basically pick. We do have different categories, and we pick some of our best titles. So I can't wait for that because
yeah,
that's actually that was a good show. So let's kind of move out of the comic book world. I feel like we have to talk about this. It's nostalgic. It's nerdgasm. It's everything. Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, White Ranger, many different Rangers in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers universe, died a few days ago.
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah, super rough. Another one. We literally just spoke last week about Kevin Conroy, and holds a piece in everyone's heart for Kevin, and this is the same thing. I mean, I was there in the early '90s. Like I can remember like having all the toys with my brother. I was a little older than my brother, but like he had them all. Had the dragon flute, like had the dragon sword, and everything else. And like I'm like, yo, the fucking Green Ranger is the coolest thing in the world. Like,
right, he was like the bad guy.
Yeah,
and then he became good. Yeah.
And then I started reading like Power Rangers when it was like Lord Draken, and I was like, "Yo, this is badass." And like, but yeah, man, it's wild. And we spoke about this over the summer with regarding to the I guess the outcome with Black Flag Comics and his whole thing, and he was that whole thing, and we talked about like suicide prevention and again, you're all open. It's crazy. Someone posted this one picture. It's like you don't ever see what's going on behind someone's eyes, and it's the truth. Like they get a smile on their face, but you have no idea what's going on behind that. And if you need to talk to someone, obviously there's things you can do. You can reach out to anybody. I'm sure anybody in the comic book community will obviously talk to you. If you don't have someone that you could think, you could always call the suicide hotline. I forget the number off the top of my head. Zach?
Oh,
I think it's like 988.
Yeah. Let me look it up. Keep talking. I'll come back.
Yeah. I was right. Actually, I was right. 988 because I hear it all the time. Katie Babb on Sirius XM Radio always talks about it. So yeah, 988 if you suicide and crisis hotline. It's devastating. 49 years old.
Man.
I would see him at cons all the time. I never, he's been in here in New Jersey a few times for some signings at local comic shops. He's embodied the character. He's the type of person that, was that character and doesn't look back. He sees it.
He was, you say embodies the character. He embodied the Power Rangers. I mean, there's no bigger advocate for the Power Rangers than Jason David Frank. Like Justin said, yeah, you'd see him at every con. And he was, if you ever got a chance to talk to him, he was super friendly, always very open to his fans. Never treated anyone down. There was even that one story in like the Phoenix Comic Con where like some guy tried to attack him one time and I think he beat him up and then the guy got arrested. But yeah, I mean, dude, he just I don't know what to say, man. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. I was looking at a list here. So you were saying, yeah, obviously Green Ranger, White Ranger. He was eventually the Zeo Ranger 5. the Red Ranger. He became the Red Turbo Ranger. He became the Zeo Ranger 5 Red. Oh, I already
Oh
said that.
man,
Black Dino Ranger.
he's been in everything, man. He's literally been in that series,
Yeah.
and I feel like he's the type of person that like. And then he went on and did MMA, right?
Dude, he also played in the Ninjak versus the Valiant universe. He was Bloodshot for
Yeah,
that web series.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, the guy had a long history of stuff, but you know, we always say like, you know, it's rough. He literally was just here. I feel like only a few months ago here in New Jersey, and I feel like I saw him at a con. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been to a bunch of conventions this year, and you just never know, man. It's just so
Yeah.
wild. And I mean, we all have our heroes, and again, like same thing like last week. Like everybody was posting pictures of Kevin Conroy. I've seen everybody from people that I follow to comic shops to celebrity, you know, even like some actors, celebrities, people that knew him. I saw an amazing video of he had a panel and Stan Lee came out during his panel, and it was just like so like that's such a thrill, like to imagine like Stan Lee coming and like interrupting your panel to to talk. It was just like
Right.
holy shit, like that's just wild. Um, and you
I
could just tell he was like head over heels, like he was just like unbelievable. Like he's like, oh my god, like Stan Lee's like in front of me right now, like just so cool. So, um, again, you just don't know. So I've spoken about it. So please, if anyone has anything and needs to speak to someone, please reach out to either of us, to a friend, or the suicide crisis hotline, man.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, I could go on about how sad it is. They've been talks for years now. There's been talks of like a reunion, right? For like
Mm-hmm.
the original, like as many of the original ones, because obviously, the actress who played Trini, I
Yep.
can't remember her name. She'd passed away. I think car crash. Is
Oh
that right?
yeah, it was bad.
And then,
Yeah, it
but
was
then
really
the other
bad.
issue was the original Red Ranger, Austin St. John, is like facing like federal money laundering charges or something like that. So he wasn't going to come back either.
Yeah.
And you just, and obviously now, I mean, I don't know how you do any form of reunion without Tommy Oliver. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
JDF is
yeah.
like you just can't, dude. In my opinion. So, I know what's her name? Who played?
Kimberly.
Yeah, Amy Jo Johnson posted something really nice on her Twitter
Mm,
account. I think it was. And it's very sad, man. It's very sad. So,
yeah.
anyway.
Same thing with like Johnny Bosch,
Oh
who
yeah,
was
yeah.
the Black Ranger, and he voices a million different anime characters. Ichigo from Bleach, which is currently on Hulu. Same thing, man. It's just
Yeah.
so.
But I guess moving on from that a little bit, I got some minor movie news.
Ooh, what do we got on the movie front, man?
So we kind of talked about this not too long ago, and this isn't like anything great, but obviously a lot of issues with Blade production and everything. But apparently they nabbed a new director and writer after hitting a production snag. So Hollywood Reporter revealed that Jan Demange, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, will take over directing duties for the upcoming film after the previous director stepped down. So Demange is known for, it's kind of weird, man. The credit they really give him is just the pilot of Lovecraft Country and several
Mm,
episodes of other TV shows, along with the Matthew McConaughey movie White Boy Rick. So not like a big resume, I guess, so to speak, but they got someone and they're back on. So I think they're looking for a production date of or like 2023, and Blade is supposed to hit theaters September 6th, 2024. So
mm.
um, let's hope, man. I hope there was always those rumors that it was gonna be different, right? Like there was talk that it was like Blade was gonna be almost not even like a minor character, it was gonna be a minor character, and it was gonna be like a handing off the torch to like his daughter, possibly. But
Mhm.
some of the articles I've read recently are talking a lot about them going back to basics, so to speak, with Blade, about like how the original Blades were dark and gritty in tone, edgier side of Marvel. So that let's hope they do that, man. That's what they need to do. Do not make Blade comedic.
Oh God.
I mean, that would be horrible, dude. Like horrible. It
Mhm.
needs to be dark and gritty and almost horror, bro. Like the original Blades were violent and almost horror.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. So that's just quick update there on
Yeah, and speaking of Marvel news, I'm sure you've heard about this. What do you think about the word on the street regarding Daredevil Born Again that they're
oh
reportedly
yeah.
casting White Tiger?
Oh,
Um,
I didn't hear that. I was reading a different article from like
oh,
Vincent D'Onofrio talking about it and saying that how like fans were going to be living episode to episode, that it's supposed to be awesome. And
yeah.
I read some really good exchange about it, about D'Onofrio. And I guess so over those years after like season 3 of Daredevil ended, right?
Hmm.
Vincent and Charlie Cox are friends. And so they were talking and they said they would chat on the phone. And then, Vincent would always keep saying, like, hey, man, just be ready for when they call us back. And Charlie Cox was like, dude, get over it, man. Move on. They're not going to call us back. Like, that's what he told him. And then this is Charlie Cox talking. And he's like, yeah, dude, it's not going to happen. He goes, and then it turns out he was right all along and I was the idiot or something like that. So
Oh
I thought
well,
that
that's
was
pretty
really
funny.
cool. Yeah. But what were you saying about like,
Yeah, so the rumor mill is that the White Tiger Ava Alaya, who's the 4th or 5th iteration of the
yeah.
White Tiger, more of the newer series. I know she was. I remember her from the Spider-Man animated show with like her and Nova and Power Man. But so she's reportedly going to be showing up in Daredevil Born Again. First appearances in like Avengers Academy
Yeah, that's
somewhere in
what I
that
remember. I loved Avengers Academy.
that
Like all
first
the
one, right?
iterations. All of them. I really liked all of them.
Hmm.
And like Avengers Arena and all that stuff I really liked.
Yeah. So not much news, but definitely a book that's probably still in dollar bins and still in back issues. Possibly go out there and grab because she's a character who's has like a different. Again, it nabs all the backgrounds, right? She's if I can't remember her, she's Hispanic, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah. She's I'm looking right now. Younger sister of like the third or maybe the first, the original Hector Ayala.
Yeah,
The aunt of Angela Del Toro, who also was a white tiger.
but yeah, it's they continue that theme. In Marvel, and it's someone that you need. Like it's definitely someone that's been around for a very long time, like Tiger the character, and to make it more the modern one, I think is the best way to go.
Right.
Because again, you feel like you really just can't keep doing these older characters anymore. Like you really need to bring more modern for the kids, and I feel like people again, like I know her from the television show with the Ultimate Spider-Man, like I said, with like Nova and stuff like that. So like I didn't really know about the character until I was watching that, to be honest. Like I didn't know there was other versions of that. So and I thought that was a great show too. I actually really want to go back and watch it. It was like Spider-Man, Nova, him, Iron Fist was on there. Very better. And Power Man. So you had like those two, and then Nova was Sam Alexander. So they were all like the younger versions of
Right.
so but I definitely think
that's what I don't agree with you with. I don't want Sam
I
Alexander.
know. Well, yeah, I know. We all don't want that, but some of the characters you can't do like the 1960s and 70s versions of these characters when
Agreed. Yeah.
a lot of these legacy characters are now out of the way. It's like right before we started recording, I was watching X-Men First Class, and you and I talk about this constantly. Like First Class is a great movie, like the whole origin of Magneto, but you just can't do that anymore.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense anymore.
Maybe you make Magneto from like Vietnam War? Like
I don't know.
like
I don't know, dude. I don't. It's just such but that's like I mean, I agree. I mean, I know obviously I've said it so many times as well. Like it's one of those things like I don't know how you do it, but at the same time, if they do something different, he's so like integral to my comic book collecting that that will break me. Like I don't want to like figure it out, man. He was frozen. If you have to, he was frozen in ice. He's like Captain America. Okay.
Oh God. Imagine that. Yeah. Like all of a sudden the X-Men it's like him and Charles Xavier were put on ice.
Yeah, dude. So no, one thing I was going to say about White Tiger though is one of the things I think that's really cool about her, or like a bonus to her character, is she has ties to Reptile, and I think Reptile's a fun character for you want to like trying to get like younger generation into comics, like a kid who can transform into dinosaurs. Like, come on, bro. It seems like a home run, So
I agree.
Yeah,
that's perfect too. Yeah, you definitely hit that on that, and that was a good series too. I mean, that had a lot of
Right.
kids, and that had a good little spin on it for a while, and everybody was looking for that. Whatever was it, that Avengers Academy 2 he first
Yeah.
appeared in, or
Yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot of characters that have come out of that Avengers Academy, and I feel like it's the same thing. Like in maybe like 5 years, everybody that's out of that Strange Academy, they're going to build on those characters because they're already building on those characters now. So, but
Cool.
what do we got left?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, dude. I gave my little story about I didn't pick up my books today, so I haven't read anything. So I got nothing. What am I currently reading? Sadness and bills. That's what I'm reading. Bills for dogs and insurance and shit.
Well, that's fine. I'll pick up the slack on the what are we currently reading. So this week, because it's again only Tuesday, so I was only really able to pick up my DC books, but two things currently out. The Punchline Gotham game number 2 came out. I don't know if you picked up the first one.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, so they had that little spin-off with her getting out of jail and then picking up with the what are they called? The Knights.
Oh, yeah, the card people.
Yeah, I know.
God damn it, dude. You're a DC guy, bro.
I know. It's on like the tip of my tongue, and I like literally just read it, but they don't call them the Royal Flush Gang. That's where it is. Yeah. So like they had the one shot with that brought her, like, went to their home, and like that was like really cool.
Yeah,
like
dude, that was messed up.
Very creepy. So now like they have that whole team, and she's just like, and I love the first issue. It's got Batman and Nightwing, and it talks about her and how she's like so much different than Harley.
Right.
And like you really have to look at that. Like she's just a very much different character. Like Harley was manipulated by the Joker, and Batman even says it, like it took years for her to get out of that thing. But like Punchline is manipulated by what Joker's done to the city. And like she's just in a different world, and she's just psychotic,
Right.
But the first 2 issues have been very well done. Like I like where it's going. I think people are not putting a lot of faith into Punchline because they're like, oh, it's just a Harley Quinn ripoff. No, it's not. It's completely different. Like, and the art's pretty good. Like, it almost reminds me like a little bit of like a Capullo type of art, even though it's not.
Okay.
But the writing's done very well. So that's my honorable mention this week. And surprisingly, and I know you're gonna be like, no goddamn way after the game, the Batman Gilded Knights from the Arkham Knight game. Have you seen this?
No, but I haven't played the game. I've just heard.
Okay, so yeah, so obviously Gotham Knights with the 4 sidekicks is absolutely terrible. It's already 40% off if you want it. So it's 40% off for PlayStation, and I'm sure it's also 40% off on the Xbox as well right now. But so it's Gilded City. It's a 6-issue miniseries. It obviously takes place before the game, because the game obviously is Batman's dead as of right now. But I haven't played the game, but I know he's dead. But it's really interesting. So it's cool because it goes back and forth between like the current time in that game where it's Batman's still alive, but then it also goes back into like the 1800s, and you get to see some character who, in my, through my observation and reading it, I feel like he's eventually going to show up in the storyline. But it's pretty funny because like they try to play off of like the young kids, like in the first issue, and I can't believe I'm talking about this too. So in like the first issue, it's like Batman, Batgirl, and Robin, Tim Drake, and everybody is going crazy. Like they're all like going nuts for whatever, and they all think it's like a fear gas thing, right? They all think it's Scarecrow, and they devise that it's basically like fear of missing out. Like, because in like one part of the world, or like in one part of Gotham, like everyone's is going crazy, like trying to take pictures of their food and beating the shit out of each other. And in another part of the city, they're all like trying to buy all these electronics. And like Tim's like, you got to pre-order just like I did. And I'm just like, what is going on? And then that's what they dissect that. It's literally like a fear of missing out type of fucking guess. But it's good. I've always enjoyed those side stories. Like Arkham City had a really good storyline.
Amazing, yeah.
The Arkham Knight comic was great. Like it really dives into that world, that verse of the Batman stuff. And it's always tough to do like side stories, right? Of comic book video games. Like even Injustice, right? Like Injustice was amazing. It went on for many seasons, like between the first game and the second game, and I feel like that's something that Marvel doesn't do too much because they really don't have like the video game market down like DC does. So not a lot this week, just the two Batman books, because I have not, again, I haven't picked up my my Marvel stuff because it's a little early, but we're recording this. But
yeah, I'm gonna go get my books tomorrow, so and then I'll get to reading. But
yeah,
it's a holiday weekend, no big deal, right? So
yeah, not a lot of news this week, I'm sure. It's crazy. It's like so funny. Like we record sometimes early, and then all of a sudden, like Thursday, all this news drops, and we're like, do we talk about it next week, or like do we just like let everybody think, well, I'm sure they've heard enough about it, they don't want to hear our opinions. So,
and then well, we do have the Willow's coming out this week and the Guardians special, so that's something we'll be talking about next week as well.
Yeah, and we'll be reviewing Andor,
yes. And where are we at on Titans before like a mid-season?
I think it's about a mid-season.
Let me look.
Yeah, because I've definitely watched at least 3 or 4 episodes, maybe 4 episodes, and then the 5th episode was dropping this Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
And there's going to be,
but yeah, if you people are not watching Titans and you have HBO Max, man, now is the time to catch up because this season is wild.
It'll be 12 episodes. So after episode 6, which is December 1st.
Yeah. So we got a little bit on that, but that's it. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, enjoying your Black Friday, maybe listening to us as you're driving home, to waiting in line for all those TVs, if people still do all that stuff. Remember those days?
Yeah, dude.
Getting up like super early. I'd get up with like my roommates way back in the day, and we would literally go to like Target and Best Buy at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., like waiting in line.
I never did that. Other people did.
Oh, really? Oh,
fuck that, dude.
Dude, that shit it was so much fun though. Like we'd literally wake up, you'd go get like coffee, hot chocolate, like donuts, and we literally would be standing in line or sitting in our cars outside like a Best Buy or Target, like waiting for all like the Blu-rays and like the video games to go on sale. Like before, like you could just buy it on like Best Buy's website like the day before.
Right. Yeah. Well, everyone, enjoy your Thanksgiving. If you haven't, your Thanksgiving weekend. Obviously, you're gonna be listening to this after we're done, or after Thanksgiving is over. So enjoy your time with your family, and
yes,
we will catch up with you, man.
Peace out, everybody.
Later.